Star Fox, a series close to many gamers' hearts, and a series that is certainly close to my Nintendo gaming heart. But for me, Star Fox, above everything else, needs three important things: direction, a big budget, and most importantly, it needs to become a space opera once again. Well, I'm no Nintendo game designer, but what I'd like to discuss are some of the ideas that I'd love to see the mainline Star Fox series incorporate going forwards. None of these are radical revolutions for the series. The ideas I have here are mere evolutions of what has already been, as well as what perhaps should have already been. So buckle up, jump in your R-Wing, and let's talk about what is, in my opinion, one of Nintendo's most loved yet lost series, and see if Star Fox can fly once again. A lot of people forget that in the original Star Fox, once a team member died, that team member was gone forever. Hence the memes where people purposefully let Slippy die, as he was the one who seemingly got into trouble the most. But for me, I never purposely let that happen, as I treasured all the Star Fox team. The original game and elements of Lilac Wars made space battles feel truly epic in scale, added a sense of speed and drama which kept players on their toes. Dodging fast moving asteroids as if you were in the Millennium Falcon, battling through fleets of ships, or entering the hulls of giant space stations to take out their cores whilst the ship exploded internally around you, much like the escape from the Death Star in Return of the Jedi. All of this was accompanied by a dramatic and orchestrated feeling soundtrack that truly made Star Fox feel like Star Wars. The original Star Fox I also felt had a leaner and meaner feel to its gameplay and direction. This was all felt in the menus, the music, the feel of the levels. I mean, flying over Venom, fighting that morphing serpent-like boss, only to see it flee down to the planet's cloudy surface, and for your team to descend into the madness that was Venom. Man, nothing else like it, not even in Lilac Wars. Compare this to the rest of the games after Starwing, and you can instantly see the tonal change in direction that the series took, as if it went for a more light-hearted and, dare I say it, cartoony in its approach.
Don't relax, we're not done yet. Time to show the monkeys who's boss.
Make Star Fox a space opera again. It needs to be epic, dramatic, somewhat serious, but of course still epically fun. Outside of the character personalities, the Star Fox team in the game have remained virtually identical, with all R-Wings controlling and having the same abilities. Well, I'd like to see this change, and it could be a change that could greatly affect many parts of the series. I'd like to see each Star Fox member have a unique looking R-Wing, and not only that, each R-Wing to have a unique transformation ability, as well as each Star Fox member have unique traits that provide both strengths and weaknesses. So here are some of my ideas.
The name's Fox. Fox McCloud.
We all know Fox is the leader, as well as technically the best pilot, so almost like a Mario character, he should be the most well-rounded in his stats. His maneuverability should be the most balanced, as well as his damage output and transformation speed between different vehicles. But seeing as he's a leader of Star Fox, his charge beam should be the fastest and of course cause the most damage. This means that Fox's ship should look more like the standard R-Wing that we know and love. In terms of unique ship abilities, Fox's ship should have a special transformation that can be used, let's say, once per mission, or perhaps be placed on a super gauge that charges up somehow, where his ship gains 2 large floating cannons hovering over each wing that fire a barrage of charge shots. And when Fox's ship transforms into the special ability, he shouts, "Let's lock and load!"
And Falco Lombardi, a hotshot flyboy who's kind of a handful, but also one of the best pilots I've ever met.
Falco is arguably a better pilot than Fox McCloud, but of course his arrogance gets in the way. His ship should be able to turn the fastest and his laser damage should be the highest, but what he gains is speed and power, he loses in defense, which can make his R-Wing more prone to attacks due to his arrogant nature, something that was essentially done with the Falco amiibo in Star Fox Zero. This means his ship and his transformation should look slimmer, I feel, and more sleeker, but this will also make him lose its wings quicker as he receives half the damage. And yes, ship damage should return. We should always lose our wings in Star Fox when we're getting beaten too much. In terms of unique ship ability, Falco's ship could obtain special wings which allow him to perform unlimited amounts of loops and reverse maneuvers for a short time. And when Falco performs this move, he shouts, "You can't touch me, I'm too hot for you."
And that's Peppy Hare, my father's old wingman, a seasoned pro, the glue that holds the team together.
Peppy is a veteran of the Star Fox team, and of course his knowledge and experience from battle should provide his ship with stronger defenses and a freaking course, the longest and fastest spinning barrel roll in the game. But as a consequence, due to his old age, his ship is slightly slower with its controls as well as its transformations. This will make his ship look slightly larger than the others and have a more vintage design, I feel. In terms of unique ship ability, Peppy's ship gains a more rapid barrel roll that reflects all attacks and fires a hail of spiraling bullets. And when Peppy does this, he shouts, "Now this is a barrel roll!"
Hey, Fox, do a barrel roll.
Yeah, come on, Fox, do a barrel roll.
Yeah.
Barrel roll?
Slippy Toad, brilliant young inventor and close friend from my academy days.
And as for Slippy, he's technically the most brilliant of the Star Fox team when it comes to mechanics, but he's unfortunately not the best pilot. This will make his ship the most makeshift looking one, as if it's being constantly worked on and modded, but never looks fully complete. His ship's defense wise is the weakest, so his shields deplete faster than the others, but what he lacks in physical defense, he more than makes up for in repairs. Slippy's ship slowly regenerates health as if he takes damage, with little robots crawling all over the ship to make the repairs, and if he loses any wings, those automatically get repaired as well. As for his unique ship ability, Slippy launches 4 robots which fully recharge the shields of all wingmen, almost like a space medic, something that Slippy's character has become pretty much known for. And when Slippy activates his special move, he shouts, "Don't worry team, I can fix anything." Since Star Fox 64 and its all-range mode, the series has mixed up both its classic on-rail segments with its full 360-degree segments, and I don't think this should change. When it comes to the on-rail segments, these should be focused as primarily speed sections, I feel, forcing the player to think fast, offer multiple routes that require quick choices, and be as bombastic as possible. These will be the true high-speed dramatic action sections. I personally loved Sector Omega in Star Fox Zero, which got the speed and intensity right, I feel, in terms of what I'd like to see more from on-rail sections. And of course, I feel that there should always be a high-speed intensive stage when you have to break through the fleet.
We're gonna break through that fleet. They're through the second line!
But these stages need to be faster than they have been in the past, and I've always felt that their pace was always one of the biggest letdowns in the later games. Although I still love the sense of speed and high energy during stage 3 in Starwing, the Space Armada level. As for all range mode, these need to be the bulk of the stages in my opinion, and within them they should have multiple tight objectives that will give rise to multiple paths or conclusions within the mission structures. And not only that, the outcome of these missions will greatly affect the final battle to deciding on how powerful the final attack on Venom and Andross in typical Star Fox fashion will be, or how great Venom's defenses will be. Or naturally, if a new story without Andross is put into play, which is always welcome, even if Star Fox Assault didn't achieve it, that would be great as well. In regards to missions, I'd love to see the series take a more Star Wars Rogue Squadron approach to its mission structures, or even what they attempted in Star Fox 2 with the active real-time map, which I thought was an awesome idea. There were moments like this in Sector Y in Star Fox Zero. In this stage you were forced to contend with 3 constant threats. The first was the main constant objective, which required stopping giant missiles which were headed towards Corneria via wormholes. The second and constant objective was to take out the large amounts of enemy ships constantly hassling you, and the third was protecting the Great Fox from small robots that would attach themselves onto the ship and slowly destroy it. Having to multitask at such a level was absolutely awesome, and I loved the added pressure. It's just a shame that this level was way too short and somewhat easy, which highlights for me that Star Fox as a series also needs to be a little bit harder in my opinion. Quite similar to the first game, but certainly more close to the Rogue Squadron difficulty, outside of just obtaining medals for shooting a certain number of enemies or finding secret paths. Essentially, players should feel empowered in their R-Wings, but certainly not invincible, and should always feel challenged. These types of missions were abundant in the Rogue Squadron series, and it made it feel like each level was a great challenge to either protect or defeat enemies or transports, and it offered a real challenge and open approach to each mission with variety. This leads me on to one of the most important evolutions that the series has always needed, and that is co-op mode. A mode that Star Fox was born to have, and a mode that should have been there years ago. I was stunned during the Wii era when we didn't get a Star Fox game that had a 4-player co-op online mode where each player could either choose a Star Fox member or even their own Mii and play some co-op missions together. Imagine 4 players on, say, Katina in Star Fox 64 Lilac Wars, which always reminded me of Independence Day.
Look out! Coming through!
2 players focus on attacking the large ship's core, whilst the other 2 focus on the many fighters in the area. This would have been awesome. Then as soon as Star Fox Zero was announced, I thought this would be the moment, this was it. But nope, no co-op again, not even multiplayer. And no, I don't count Star Fox Guard. As soon as I saw levels like Corneria in Star Fox Zero, where you have to fight that large spaceship Androssa, and how you later need to transform into the chicken walker, or the walker, to enter inside, I thought, yes, this is what I'm talking about. Co-op for this would be perfect. Somehow force 2 players to remain outside whilst the other 2 enter the ship and take it out from the inside. But only the players on the outside can open the doors in order to help their friends escape from the destructive blast or something. And if all members don't survive, then you either fail or don't get the best score. Or how about attacking a base on both ground and sky level? 2 players in R-Wings, the others in the Landmasters. The giant spider tank boss on the snow level in Star Fox Zero would have been a perfect example of this. Whilst the Landmasters take out the ground units and the legs of the giant walker, bringing it down to his knees and lowering his shield, the R-Wings could take out the lesser turrets on top of the boss whilst also attacking the core whilst the shields are down. And that, I think, would be awesome, especially if you were constantly kept on your toes once again with multiple factors. And of course your new ship's abilities, which I mentioned earlier, can now help even further, where perhaps select team members are better suited for certain levels and certain tasks, but the developers would ensure that all roles played are enjoyable regardless of the mission. Or once again, play like Star Wars Rogue Squadron, where you have to select a certain ship that is best suited for that level. Or perhaps even just relegate these special co-op missions to standard R-Wings, where people play as their me characters. I mean, who wouldn't want to see themselves in an R-Wing, right? And as for competitive multiplayer, I was never a fan of this mode, to be fair, as I found it pretty boring with players just following each other and performing loop-de-loops, etc. But with the added unique ship features, which I mentioned previously, perhaps this would mix up multiplayer more, provided with more tactics, and of course with the additional benefit of being able to instantly change into your chicken walker, or perhaps even just deploy other vehicles. This would make multiplayer quite fantastic and competitive, especially if the levels offer additional hazards and perks, similar to say Kirby's Air Ride or Kid Icarus Uprising. But even I have to agree, in this day and age, and especially with a game like Star Fox, online multiplayer is probably a must. So those are the things I'd personally love for the Star Fox series to focus on. I know some people love the on-foot sections of Star Fox Assault, but I was never a fan of it. Mixed in with the main game, it was similar to what Rogue Leader 2 done. And when you mix genres like that, something always seems to not quite work right. If they want to make a Star Fox third-person shooter again with an on-foot characters, then give me Star Fox Adventures 2 any day of the week. We know Rare can't do it, so give it to Retro Studios or even Monolith Soft. I'd take a Star Fox RPG set in the Star Fox universe any day for sure. But I think I'm done here. A pretty epic video for what should be an epic series, I feel. Let me know your thoughts on my ideas, as well as sharing your own thoughts on what you'd love from the Star Fox series. And here's hoping a rough reception to Star Fox Zero doesn't put a stopper on the series for another decade. Thanks for watching. And as always, I look forward to your comments below and will talk to every single one of you. Take care all, thanks for watching, and peace.
Damn it.